Martin Scorcese is well known as being a major collaborator with the Criterion collection. Now, he financially supports the restoration of classic movies in the collection, and that includes The Red Shoes, of course, and many others, as well as being a staunch supporter of the World Cinema Project, with many box releases already in the collection so far. Now, he has also provided many commentaries as well on releases in the collection, including, of course, on his own movies. A smaller sample of his own directorial work graces the collection on Blu-ray, including Scorsese shorts, The Last Temptation of Christ, The Age of Innocence, and more recently, The Irishman, which he made for Netflix. Not to mention the Rolling Thunder Review, a Bob Dylan story, and The Last Waltz. Now, one of his classic films arrives on 4K UHD Blu-ray, and indeed it's one of De Niro's finest ever performances as Jake LaMotta, Raging Bull. Now, many collectors have been waiting for this title to arrive, and it has done so in style. Filmed totally in black and white, it contains the most visceral boxing fight sequences ever put to celluloid, and indeed, its visual style has been copied by other cinema makers in the years following its release. It's the feeling of being in the actual ring with this iconic boxer that makes it so impressive, and the sheer volatile nature of the storytelling. Raging Bull is a 1980 American biographical sports drama film directed by Martin Scorcese, produced by Robert Chartoff and Irwin Winkler, and adapted for screen by Paul Schrader and Mardik Martin from Jake LaMotta's 1970 memoir, Raging Bull, My Story. The film itself, distributed by United Artists Pictures, stars Robert De Niro as Jake LaMotta, an Italian-American middleweight boxer whose self-destructive and obsessive rage, jealousy, and animalistic appetite destroyed his relationship with his wife and his family. Now, also featured in the film are Joe Pesci as Joey, LaMotta's well-intentioned brother and manager who tries to help Jake battle his inner demons, and Kathy Moriarty as his wife Vicky. Nicholas Colasanto, Teresa Saldana, and Frank Vincent all play supporting roles in the film. Now, Scorsese was initially reluctant to develop this project, though he eventually came to relate to LaMotta's story. Schrader rewrote Martin's first screenplay, and Scorsese and De Niro together made uncredited contributions thereafter. Now, Joe Pesci was an unknown actor prior to this film, and it, of course, was Moriarty, who was suggested for her role by Pesci. During principal photography, each of the boxing scenes was choreographed for a specific visual style, and De Niro himself gained approximately 60 pounds, 27 kilograms in weight to portray LaMotta in his later post-boxing years. Now, Scorsese was exacting in the process of editing and mixing the film, expecting this to be his last major feature. Boy, are we so glad and grateful that that turned out not to be the truth. And he'd gone on since then, of course, to make some of his best films in the early 90s and beyond. One of Scorsese's trademarks was casting many actors and actresses new to the profession. De Niro, who was already committed, of course, to play Jake LaMotta, began to help Scorsese track down unfamiliar names to play his on-screen brother Joey and wife Vicky. Now, the role of Joey LaMotta was the first to be cast. De Niro was watching a low-budget TV film called The Death Collector when he saw the part of a young career criminal played by Joe Pesci, a then unknown and struggling actor, and thought he was an ideal candidate. The role of Vicky, respelled, of course, as Vicky with an E in the final film, and Jake's second wife, had interest across the board, but it was Pesci who suggested the actress Kathy Moriarty from a picture he once saw at a New Jersey disco. Joe Pesci also persuaded his former showbiz pal and co-star in The Death Collector, Frank Vincent, to try out for the role of Salvi Batz. Following a successful audition and screen test, Vincent received the call to say he had received the part. Now, while in the midst of practicing a Bronx accent and preparing for his role, De Niro met both LaMotta and his ex-wife Vicky on separate occasions. Jake LaMotta, on the other hand, also served as his trainer, accompanied by Al Silvani as the coach at the Gramercy Club in New York, getting De Niro into shape. The fact that De Niro has a talent for boxing anyway is what ultimately sold him to the viewers in the role of Jake LaMotta. Although De Niro won an Oscar for his performance as Jake LaMotta, Scorsese himself was snubbed by the Academy for Best Picture and Best Director that year, which proved disappointing for him as he was proud of this film. His longtime editor, Thelma Schoonmaker, was given the award for Best Editing though. Raging Bull comes to the Criterion Collection as a 4K UHD combo, with Blu-ray of course, and an impressive set of features. There's new video essays by the film critics Jeffrey O'Brien and Sheila O'Malley on Scorsese's mastery of formal technique and the film's triumvirate of characters. 3 audio commentaries featuring Scorsese and editor Thelma Schoonmaker, director of photography Michael Chapman, producers Robert Chartoff and Erwin Winkler, casting director Sis Corman, music consultant Robbie Robertson, actors Teresa Saldana and John Turturro, and sound effects supervising editor Frank Warner, and the boxer Jake LaMotta, and screenwriters Martin and Paul Schrader. Fight Night, a making-of programme featuring Scorsese and key members of the cast and the crew. 3 short programmes highlighting the long-time collaboration between Scorsese and actor Robert De Niro. There's television interview from 1981 with actor Kathy Moriarty and the real Vicky LaMotta. Interview with Jake LaMotta, also from 1990. There's also a programme from 2004 featuring veteran boxers reminiscing about Jake LaMotta. There's a trailer, and of course there are 2 written essays, one by the poet Robin Robertson and the film critic Glenn Kenny.